Clark is getting back on the golf course again this offseason, participating in the Annika golf outing. And she has a couple of caddies that are going to be taking the course alongside her in the form of Sophie Cunningham and Lexie Hull. Sophie and Lexie kind of called this shot, or especially Sophie did, back before when it was first announced that Caitlin was going to do this event.
Caitlin Clark just got herself 2 caddies for her upcoming celebrity golf tournament, and one of them is Sophie Cunningham. Yes, the same Sophie everyone thought might be leaving the Indiana Fever. And now here she is, walking the course and carrying golf clubs for Clark. Meanwhile, the entire WNBA offseason has gone so silent it feels like the league hit a pause button and vanished. Tell me honestly, have you ever seen a sports league lose momentum this fast? Let me know in the comments.
You could get into the comments section. You see there's Caitlin Clark with Nelly Korda, who, was impressed with Caitlin's poise on the golf course last year, even with the crowds, and said she got into women's basketball because of Caitlin. Sophie Cunningham says, Caitlin Clark need a couple of caddies. Lexie Hull with the smiling face or whatever that is and some beer cheers. And Lexie Hull says, sign us up. And you thought that was the end of it, right? At least I did. I did not think we'd be revisiting that. Just felt like the cute little remnants of the Instagram comments section. But it is actually happening.
So here's what's going on. Caitlin Clark is participating in a celebrity golf tournament. Pretty standard off-season athlete behavior. When players aren't training, promoting, or appearing on media, they usually do events like this to stay visible. For the tournament, Clark needed guest caddies. Not just professional ones, but people who would add personality, attention, and entertainment to the event for fans and media.
We also have the GOAT, Caitlin Clark, bringing Lexie Hull and Sophie Cunningham along for the ride as golf caddies at her golf tournament.
Enter Lexie Hull and Sophie Cunningham, 2 of Caitlin's Indiana Fever teammates showing up to walk the course with her, carry clubs, and joke around about which club to use like they're PGA insiders. On the surface, it's a fun, lighthearted off-season moment that shows chemistry among teammates. But here's where it gets interesting. Sophie Cunningham's future with the Fever has been uncertain for months. Fans have questioned whether she's staying, whether she's satisfied, whether the organization values her. And the Fever's official social accounts barely posting about her only added fuel to that speculation.
Now taking her talents to the golf course, where she will join Clark for the Annika Pro-Am tournament next week. Unlike Clark, however, Cunningham will not play in the tournament. She and Fever teammate Lexie Hull have committed to be Clark's guest.
So when Sophie suddenly appears as Caitlin's caddy, fans immediately start reading into it. Does this mean she's staying in Indiana? Does this confirm everything is fine behind the scenes? Does this show that chemistry within the team is strong? Or is it simply Sophie saying, sure, I'll hang out and carry golf clubs today? The truth is, it could mean everything or absolutely nothing.
Caitlin Clark has opened up the opportunity for both Sophie Cunningham and Lexie Hull to be a part of this huge non-basketball, I said non-basketball event. So again, when you talk about Caitlin Clark opening things up for other people, it's not just on the basketball court. That is the kind of influence.
The announcement came from Gainbridge, which is connected to both the Indiana Fever and Pacers organizations. They revealed Sophie Cunningham and Lexie Hull would be caddying for Caitlin Clark alongside pro golfer Nelly Korda and Lauren Yen. The event is set for November 12th, giving fans time to get hyped about watching basketball players pretend they suddenly understand golf terminology. And honestly, this should be a bigger moment. A year ago, if someone said Caitlin Clark was appearing in a celebrity golf tournament with her teammates, the internet would have exploded. Media outlets would have covered it nonstop. Social media would have been flooded with clips, interviews, and hype. But now, it's happening quietly, barely making noise, which highlights a bigger issue. The WNBA offseason has gone completely flat. The league that was breaking attendance records, dominating talk shows, and selling out arenas has slipped right out of public conversation. And that's a major problem. Think back to 1 year ago. Caitlin Clark, still in college, was drawing millions of viewers to every game she played. She brought in new fans, casual fans who were just starting to care. Then she entered the WNBA and brought that momentum with her. Attendance skyrocketed. Viewership spiked. Merchandise sold out. The league had a wave of momentum no women's league has ever had before. But instead of nurturing that momentum, the league let unnecessary drama, negativity, and internal conflict drown the excitement. Constant criticism of Clark, constant division among fan bases, and endless debates that turned basketball into a cultural argument drained people's interest. NBA media members even said it became socially problematic in WNBA spaces to not hate Caitlin Clark, which is insane. In the NBA, if you're always trashing LeBron, you're just called a troll. But in the WNBA, the idea became that praising Clark made you the enemy. That environment pushed new fans away. People came to watch basketball, not moral warfare. Now in the off-season, engagement has collapsed. Stories that would have been massive last year barely register now. Even this caddy situation, which is genuinely interesting, is getting ignored. And the Sophie Cunningham angle matters. She is tough, experienced, a reliable shooter, and exactly the kind of steady veteran a young team needs. Yet discourse around her has often been rooted in personal bias instead of basketball. That's part of the league's broader image issue. The fact that Sophie showing up to a golf tournament is being interpreted as a roster clue shows how little actual news the league is producing. Meanwhile, Lexie Hull's presence is just normal teammate support. No drama there. But the real signal here is the drop-off in public attention. A year ago, Caitlin Clark doing anything went viral. Today, she's appearing in a televised event with teammates, and most people won't even know it happened. The WNBA needed to convert curiosity into loyalty, but the silence and negativity chased fans away. The league let its momentum slip. Now, even fun off-season content like this gets watched by almost no one. And that's the sad part. This should be a moment that keeps fans connected. Instead, it's just another quiet off-season footnote. So yes, Caitlin Clark is golfing, Sophie Cunningham and Lexie Hull are her caddies, and the WNBA off-season is moving at the speed of wet paint drying. A year ago, this is breaking news. Today, it's background noise. If you're still here paying attention, hit like and subscribe, because clearly someone needs to keep the conversation alive.